Welcome boys and girls, Christine here with a campaign guide for Tzarina Katarin of Kislev. I've done numerous videos on the subject of Kislev. I've talked about Tzarina Katarin's campaign situation, but I do want to make a video on the best way to approach her campaign very early on. You have a research rate benefit, you have an ice core benefit, you have a winds of magic benefit. You don't necessarily start with a really good army, and one of the problems in this campaign is that it's going to push you to go east, whereas the real threats in this campaign are going to be north over here with Front on Clean. So I'm just going to go over the kind of strategies to use in this campaign to really maximize the potential over here. There is going to be some cheese over here, but there is a difference. I think there is a fine line between cheese and using legitimate game tactics. Like, for instance, trading Zavastra over here to the Tzarina Enclave so you can confederate them very quickly, I think that is a perfectly legitimate tactic to use in a campaign, because you want to confederate them since they have a tier 2 settlement over here in Fort Estrak. And so that will provide you the ability of getting a Patriarch. It will nullify the threat that Front on Clean does provide, because you won't have a provincial capital, and you will be able to just get Armor Coster. So I really think that is worth doing. But again, there is a fine line. Where you consider that line to be, that is going to be up to you. Obviously, if you're not going to follow this step by step, certain things won't apply. So when you start this campaign, what you want to do in Kislev, you want to sell the Zavastra to the Tzarina Enclave. You also want to sell. You also want to start building a Tallow Keepers Guild in Kislev, and you want to get the tribal encampment in this campaign. Then you also want to take a look at the kind of diplomatic options that you do have. For instance, with Malachi, getting a trade agreement by declaring war on the Minor Nurgle faction he starts a war with, declaring war on Kazrak, getting a trade agreement with Karl Franz. Those kind of things, that will just give you a bit of extra money and start you on the road of diplomacy, which is going to be really solid. Research-wise, what you want to get your hands on very quickly over here is either Troll Country Pathfinder or Covalescence. I think Covalescence is a bit of a benefit because of the casualty replenishment rate, but over here I'm going to go with Troll Country Pathfinder. This is under the assumption that you do fight a lot of these early game battles yourself manually. Now, beyond that, what you also want to pick up is to use the load save character system. You may decide not to do so, but it's just going to be that kind of substantial early game benefit. Here's how you do this. You start a campaign in Realms of Chaos, you get the research ability of training Ice Witch Lords and Frost Maidens, and then you select a bunch of traits. The best ones from my point of view are things like Logisticon, Glacial Blaster, and for Ice Witch Lords, Architect. You can go with Economist for the sake of Frost Maidens. You also want to use the Commandment of Relief columns over here in Kislev City and start recruiting some Kislevite warriors, assuming you have Shadows of Change. If you don't have Shadows of Change, recruit regular Cossars and then go fight this battle. It's a very, very easy battle. Katarin may not have the best kind of magic available, but due to the design of this army, low levels of armor, you can actually kill a lot of these troops over here with minimal casualties by using the Ice Sheet spell. So you use this spell on the enemy as they're advancing, you use Katarin to try and tank some damage, you can use the Snow Leopard for this. Your goal here is to ensure that your Armor Cossars and Ice Guard and regular Cossars don't really take a whole lot of damage in this battle. And yes, do fight them manually and try and pursue as many of the enemy to eliminate them as possible, because you do want to gain as much experience and as much post-battle benefits as you possibly can. Okay, so over here with this battle resolved, what you want to go for is sacrifice captives to get that extra campaign movement range, get a bit of extra devotion that you do have access to over there. Make sure you get Root Marcher. It is pretty important to kill the enemy lord. Your Snow Leopard is actually very good at doing that, and it's also good at distracting a portion of the army. That's kind of the key to success over here to minimize casualties. You want to use your Winged Lancers, you want to use Katarin, you want to use the Snow Leopard to go deal with certain portions of the enemy army and ensure they're not really doing a lot of damage. This battle is even easier than the first one because obviously you don't have like Ice Trolls or a Lord to deal with, so this army, pretty pathetic, pretty simple, pretty easy to tackle. Okay, so in the aftermath of this battle, my Snow Leopard took a bit of damage, but the benefit of Snow Leopards is that they will recover those kind of casualties faster than most other things. Anyway, what you want to do here is recruit just some regular Kossars. You might want to recruit some Kossars for this one army as well, actually, instead of recruiting Kisavai warriors. When you think about it, it depends on how serious you want to consider the threat over here in Fort Chakova. There is an army over there, but we can actually deal with it with another load save character system, with another load saved army over here. So what we can do is we recruit that and we move her right here, and we want to, like, when we recruit one for Kislev, it's probably going to be around here, right? So you want to just move it closer to the enemy. The reason you want to do so is that you want to entice the AI in Fort Chakova to move out of Fort Chakova. You can win the Battle of Fort Chakova, but it is going to be an easier affair if you don't have to go in there yourself, because there is an army that's just as strong as your initial enemy over there. Now, it may happen, it may not happen. It depends on AI calculation, difficulty, that kind of stuff, behavior. If there is a subject of change with regards to various patches, that's probably one of those things. So over here, it didn't quite happen the way I would have wanted it to happen, but it did happen nonetheless. So we can now attack this element. We can even get some ogres. So you want to recruit the ogre mercenaries over here through their camp right there. And we can now attack over here, destroy this army, get the settlement, get the garrison eliminated, etc. Just try and keep all your units alive. Don't be afraid of using your ogre bulls, though. So you have a stronger army over here than what the AI does have, and you can also ambush their reinforcements potentially. So keep that in mind. And after fighting one battle, some of them did escape, but this is actually nice because we do... we can take advantage of the kind of supporters that we do gain by fighting against chaos with the Ice Court. So we get firing drills, make sure you have barracks. If there's no barracks in Fort Chakova, you might want to construct that one. Make sure over here that you're getting some Kisavite warriors, and yes, you might want to get even a third lord over here to pull all of this off, what I'm about to do. So get Kossars, all that kind of good stuff. Now, here, in this situation that you find yourself in, make sure you get Route Marcher with everyone. You do want the campaign movement range. At this point, you may want to save, unless you're playing with Iron Man mode. Now, you may need to reload the save in order to pull it off, but what you want to do is you want to start trading a settlement for settlement for the sake of diplomatic relations. So just make sure that you're taking all their money. Though, again, to the degree that you want to do this, that is going to be up to you in your kind of campaign situation. But if you get them, if you sell a couple of regions and trade them back and then get them to join one of your wars, you should be able to guarantee the Confederation. Fraught will not declare war on you instantly. So you just get rid of this building over here, and you do recruit some regular Kisavai warriors and armor Kossars and all that kind of stuff, right? So make sure you move Katarin back in the settlement right here, get some Kisavai warriors. You can recruit some stuff here. You could sell this to Kastalton. My recommendation, get the Patriarch first and foremost before you do so. Now, this is where you may want to save, again, if you've pulled this off. Though, you may also want to go take Igorov first before you do take the next step. Make sure you don't build anything over here, but this is where things can get a bit cheesy. But what you really want, like, regardless of what you do after this point, to the extent that you want to cheese it, you can achieve this result by just literally selling these elements to the Tzarina Enclave, provided they have barracks, maybe even without barracks. But what you're really interested in is this tier 2 settlement, having armor Kossars, getting Tzarina, getting Patriarchs, and then maybe even switching to Akshinas, because you do need the combat power if you're going to deal with Fraught. But if you don't do this, Fraught is going to take Fort Destruct, and that's just going to create a lot of problems for you. Depends on the difficulty. Sometimes he does it on turn 2, after turn 2. Sometimes he waits a while, but he'll always do it. Now, one of the things you want to do is position one of these ice switches or one of your lords close enough that you can actually take Igorov on this turn. Igorov will have that cavalry building installed in it, and now you get an Ataman. Okay, so put one in Kislev. Here's where things can get a bit cheesy. you can achieve a really good result over here with Prague very quickly. Now, the goal here, depends on how you want to view it, the goal here is to confederate Prague quickly. This is where things can be considered pretty bullshit. Sure, I get it, right? You don't need to confederate Prague in the same way that you want to confederate a couple of other things. But regardless, you just want to make sure that you're giving them stuff away over here and just then, sell this. You can also ask for money, but it's not the financial incentive that you're really, really after over here. You just trade these settlements one after another, like Vitevo, Igorov. You can do this kind of infinitely, if I'm not joking on this subject. So you can just take Vitevo, give it over here, and what you're really interested in is in achieving like a kind of 300, 400, 600 diplomatic relations situation over here. So you can just, end up trading Zavastra, getting some money. You can also use saving in order to get the diplomatic relation benefit that you want. So just, Igorov for Vitevo. You can also get Zavastra back. Like, it's just it is bullshit. I'm not going to lie. It is pure bullshit. But why do we do this? Like, do you want to consider this an exploit? Do you not want to consider this an exploit? That is your decision on this. I'm mentioning it. There's pros and cons with this approach. The pro is you get Prague. The con is you'll have to build up Prague, and your recruitment over there is going to suffer a bit, to be sure. But there are very significant benefits for pulling this off in terms of ensuring a kind of confederation success right here. For a bit more region trading, we will have a pretty well-developed situation, diplomatically speaking, and an Ataman with Prague. Now we just gotta wait. I did get the defensive alliance. I could have gotten a military alliance over here, but it is just that kind of situation where you want to wait. Just recruit Kislev warriors and Kossars over here. Make sure you get things like Inspiring Presence. You can even get rid of one of these. It's not really a problem. Now, again, you can get this confederation on the same turn if you're doing that region trading to a ridiculously extreme level. It might take a bit, it might take longer. Depends on how you want to tackle this kind of situation, really. Or it can happen on this turn. So there's all kinds of situations which you can take advantage of. And if you declare war on various factions, you might just be able to get the Confederation there and then. But be a bit careful on how you kind of approach this, because some of these things can obviously bite you in the ass if you go too far for them, right? Like some of these war declarations can bite you in the ass, but I think like the tree hammers are like the one easier target to confederate and not have the same penalty. So now you can get Prague Confederation on turn 4. And now you can just build up stuff over here. Still get the patriarchy benefit here, get that barracks over there, get rid of this building. And you do have a bunch of benefits over here. You can even take that settlement right there and just start force marching everyone right here to the north. Alternatively, you can choose not to confederate Prague, but here's the thing. Prague is going to be a useful confederation, regardless of how you cut it, right? Like, there's no situation in which confederating Prague is not worth it. Simple as that. Weirdly enough, you also get a bit of a growth benefit right here, but regardless of that. You might also even get their entire army, but usually that kind of army will not necessarily have the kind of stuff that you want from it. So is it worth keeping that? That's up to you, really. That's your personal decision on the subject. What you do want is, you want, again, like, you want armored Khazars. Like, that's what you're really after over here. So you want to get that local recruitment capacity. As for the settlement, you will trade it to Castalton. And get Castalton to fight a war with Frot. So you are going to be the one declaring war on Frot once you ally Castalton. So you get the Patriarchs, you get an alliance with Castalton, you go to war with Frot. Ideal situation is if you go to war with Frot when your armies are in position. Now, because of all the territory I do have, in terms of church and state, I would recommend going for the Orthodoxy for the kind of supporters. Also, Katarin has a significant advantage with, or has kind of advantage with regards to the Ice Court. So you want to get Endless March. Campaign movement range is pretty useful for the most part. And over here, you do want to get that growth benefit right here. Kislev is going into the tier 2 territory over here. Frot could be a bit of an issue, sure, but again, you just want to get that church. And we want to move everyone closer to this settlement. Money-wise, there are ways of gaining money. Don't worry too much about that. Like, financially speaking, you should not be worried about it whatsoever. Just start getting these settlements to a higher tier, start getting economic benefits, supporters, all that. Though I would probably get the supporter building once you're at tier 2, so you can just start getting those kind of economic benefit structures over here, if you so want. And there's various agreements over here as well, like an alliance right there. Be wary a bit of the ogres, because they will be coming for Zavastra. So I would actually just, like, get Igorov to tier 2, like Forchakova, and Forchakova is just a better situation right there. So just start moving everyone closer and closer to the to help it. And then just, yeah, recruit a bunch of stuff. Money-wise, again, if you're struggling financially, there are deals you can make. So you can sell Volksrat to these guys and get, you know, everything that they don't have nailed to the floor. I would not necessarily recommend it, but when you do gain control of Volksgrad, you can also get a declaration of war against the Dissenter Lords, which in turn you can turn into, like, a declaration of war against the Western provinces, which in turn you can get, you know, a peace agreement over here very easily with these guys if you so want to. Do you consider this cheesing? I mean, the alternative is, by the way, like, the alternative to all this diplomacy is just literally going in Fort Strak, recruiting a bunch of Khazars and Kislev warriors, getting the alliance with Castalton, and just marching on Helpit directly, regardless of how you lose. Yeah, that's the goal. Your first battle against Frot should be Helpit, because you can eliminate him very damn quickly over there in that kind of situation, and it will produce a bunch of significant advantages if you do so. So anyway, we are one turn away from getting that kind of structure right there. We can get, like, money-wise, there are, again, various options available to you financially, like non-aggression pacts with these kind of factions that you can go for. You can even declare war on Azazel if you so desire. Eventually, the Western provinces will be willing to engage in diplomacy with you. You can also declare war on the Red Eye, those kind of things. Just start getting those kind of diplomatic deals in your campaign over here, because they will be incredibly beneficial. And just move everyone to the very edge of this territory. Be aware that, you know, Frot can obviously fucking ambush you. So, you know, you can set up an ambush for himself if you get an army like this. I would possibly recommend trying to keep your ice witches alive. Just a perspective on that. Like, you don't need these lords. So if you're struggling a bit financially, you can always rely on... you can always dismiss some of these armies for very obvious reasons. Right here. But in this case, I don't need that kind of stuff right there. So, okay, so that's also going to be tier 2 soon enough. So we can actually just... yeah, we can dismiss that one. Also, I should point out that I didn't use one of the things I probably should have. Which is like, I'll get into that, like ice witches, right? Like frost maidens, rather. So one of the things you should do is obviously get your hands on a couple of frost maidens. That's on me, right? That's my my mistake over there. But declare war on Norland. They might just be willing to surrender immediately over there. Not a problem. Just those kind of situations over there that you can take advantage of. You may want to take the territory, though, for yourself right there, but because they're at war with one another, you can absolutely take advantage of that. Again, like just one of those situations. And yeah, we can sell Volksgrad. Though you may want to wait until next turn, so you can potentially get a bit more money. What you do want is obviously, as I said, like declaration of war against Fraud. Katarin has siege attackers, so you can just attack Hell Pit. And you will have, if you move your armies in this kind of position, you will have enough movement range. Now, the key in ensuring that Fraud doesn't strike the first blow is ensuring that you have, you take fewer casualties. It's important to minimize casualties in battle because a lot of decision making that the AI has, and yes, this is fortunate with the kind of like situation we got here, like, you know, Caffeine caravans showing up. Like, you can get one Caffeine faction to at least show up anyway. But yeah, Eastern River Lords are always a good one. Imperial Wardens are another good one that you can use. But anyway, with our Patriarch situation resolved over here, we can now just recruit them. And we can then trade Fort Ostrak to Castalton. We don't strictly need a military alliance with him, by the way. It will be nice, though, to have that. Because it's the question, like, do you want Castalton to declare war on X faction, or do you want Castalton to, you know, join the war against Fraud? Either way, declare war on Hellpit, take it out, take Hellpit for yourself. I don't know if the armies, like, this is the thing. Why fight a difficult battle against the fucking Skaven when you can just obliterate the Skaven? Coalescence is the second bit of research that you want to get your hands on. And then, yeah, just move literally freaking everything that you have over here on Katarin and all that. Move this stuff, and it's like, it should be enough, hopefully, to just... Like, Fraud will have his forces split up. Like so. So you can just like, oh, I'm just going to show up and beat the living crap out of you. No problem. Would have been probably nicer to get the fronts. So yeah, we can just auto-resolve Hell Pit. Obviously, it is better if you take it. If you take it in an actual siege. But hey, we take Hell Pit. We sack it, because it's a tier 2 settlement, so we can just sack it and then occupy it, and it will be the same tier. Get rid of that structure right there. And another thing we can do is obviously load Frost Maidens over here. So the traits that we want, like Glacial Blaster is always good, Economist is always good as a trait, so just get these guys. And you won't even have to fight Fraud. Right, like, so this is turn fucking 7 in this campaign, and we've already done something that many people would take 20 turns to do. It's a bit of a shame that Volksgrad fell, but, you know, sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. Okay, so we can get one of these armies to pull back, maybe even both of these armies to pull back. Dismiss some of these lords, move an army inside, better replenishment. Just be careful that you don't lose your Ice Witch Lords, because, yeah, obviously you can't just recover the casualties that you lose over there. So, yeah, just be mindful of what you're doing over here. So now, Fraud does not have the movement range to just attack you directly, so he's going to go after Castalton. So you keep building up stuff over here. Again, like, the ogres will be one of the issues that you're going to have to deal with if you do declare war on them. There's a couple of factions, the Magafkin, the ogres, the rock skulls, all that can use as an advantage to just declare, you know, war on. Take them out. you know, go for that situation. You can also set up an ambush right here on Frata and Clean and just wipe him out if things are going to get nasty. Weirdly enough, interestingly enough, over here, these guys are still alive. Like, I did not expect them to be still alive, really, to be honest with you. Like, I thought that Azazel would have dealt with them by now. But I guess not. So you do get that Frostfang quest over there with Katarin. So what do you do now? Well, you gotta be careful, because Frot does have a fucking legion of troops. So just move Katarin. There is a fairly good ambush success chance over here that we can utilize to our own advantage. And yeah, we can pull back these lords to go defend. We can get these frost maidens closer to the front, more campaign movement range. Like, one of the reasons you would want to get those frost maidens is, yes, just literally the campaign movement range. And using Prague for the sake of, you know, just recruiting units. What about Kislev? What should Kislev do? Well, Kislev should be serving as an economic center of your territory. So just focus on improving your economy early on. There are various means of doing so. So getting like trade agreements, that kind of stuff, like, is, from my view, important. You can get an agreement with Ostland, you can get one with Ostermark, you can get, you know, those kind of things. But be mindful a bit that the more deals you make with Ostermark, the higher the chances Draika will attack you. But also bear in mind, Draika will attack you if she thinks you're weak. So keep that kind of aspect in mind with respect to all of this, right? Because it's like, it's always that situation of diplomacy that you got to manage that diplomacy aspect and your faction strength ranking. Like, my strength ranking over here is not necessarily the best, right, in this situation, weirdly enough. It could be higher, actually. So we can, yeah, just pay attention on the diplomacy screen to which faction you can declare war on. What is available, what is not available, those kind of factors will matter, right? So let's just say we get a non-aggression pact with Ostland. Right there. We can also merge these guys, because, like, I actually don't need Kislev warriors anymore. They're useful until you get we can get that regiment renowned. They're useful until you can pick up armored Khazar. So Kastaltin over there attack Frot. And we'll see what Frot does. Maybe he attacks, maybe he doesn't. We get ambushed, but it's like, whatever, right? She's dead, doesn't matter. Like, that is the consequence. Okay, it would have been better to fight that battle manually. I'm not gonna lie. It is unfortunate he ambushed me, but now we can just eliminate him very, very quickly over there. Money-wise, we can get it from Malachi. Like, I wouldn't be worried too much about that kind of situation over there. Like, just, we can get it from Malachi, we can confederate Kastaltin. Like, we can also take out that settlement to give to Kastaltin. It depends on how you want to view it, like, what's worth it more, right? So it's like, it would have been better had I fought that battle manually, I'm not gonna lie. But, like, this is just a demonstration of various, you know, aspects that you can care about. Research-wise, what you want to get after you've done, like, if you're playing another Kislev campaign, you want to get eye sculpting, like, once you've done all of these free over here, what you want to go for is these free, like Iron River Stone, Improved Lookout, so local recruitment capacity, construction cost benefits, all that kind of stuff. Now, Katarin does not have a good climate situation with respect to Wasteland. It is, by the way, very damn unfortunate that Frot did ambush me right there, but hey, it's like sometimes you can't just choose what you're gonna get. So anyway, we are going to need another Patriarch, but that's fine. And now we can just sell this to Malachi. Or if you don't want to sell it to Malachi, and the reason you wouldn't want to sell it to Hellpit to Malachi is not because Hellpit isn't useful to Malachi. Far from it. It is exceptionally useful. And we do have the ogres coming in. So get Watchmen. right there and go to the limit of Prague, get some armor Kossars, get some Kislev warriors. If the ogres attack Kislev, the garrison of Kislev should be able to deal with them. That's not really an issue. Now these guys are going to be... Maybe I should have declared war on Talabayam. I just kind of didn't want to declare war on Talabayam. But yeah, maybe the ogres were one of the worst choices I could have gone for over there. Because like Talabayam's army is going to be in their capital. Just some things to consider right there. So we can sell this. We can sell Help It to Malachi. Get a bunch of money in the process. And crucially get the military alliance to a Malachi. That we can then use. With Katarin, you don't really want to get her magic skill. You just want to get various kinds of benefits. Get another church so we can replace that patriarch. I could have probably won the battle against Vlad because like Kislev warriors with Kislev warriors in a location are actually pretty like Kislev is really good at dealing with ambushes purely for the reason that Kislev is really good at morale. So you have an army that, oh, you got ambushed. I just didn't want to spend the time on it, I admit. Okay, so they've taken that settlement. It's fine. It's not really too much of an issue. That is a bit of an issue. So we gotta deal with that. Burn it all. Economy is still in the green. So we can move Katarin right here to go deal with that. And we can actually set up an ambush right here for these guys. So what we do, you need bait, essentially. You need a good solid amount of bait to lure them in. So the garrison of Kislev may or may not be able to deal with this, right? But the way the AI works, yeah, just some Kislev warriors in case, you know, shit hits the fan. But the way the AI works is it will always try and attack at weaker points. And what we want to do is present one of those weaker points as a kind of location that they could attack. Because otherwise, they'll just march on Fort Chakova, right? Like, if I let them here... But because we have this ambush, like, the AI sees this army and thinks, oh, this is really weak. And so they'll march on that army. There's no guarantee at any damn point in terms of, like, AI behavior or anything like that. But it is probably as close to a guarantee as you're going to get. Like, you present a weaker front for the AI to attack you on. And then, yeah, voila. They walk right in the middle of it. You dispose of them. You deal with them. And that's just because the AI thinks, oh, it's like really, really weak, right? That's how the AI functions in Warhammer 3. Like just saying all of that kind of stuff, right? It's like just very predictable, very, you know, easy. And now another thing you got to consider with like Questalton is like, okay, so... Over here, what do we do now? Well, we obviously deal with ogres, right? And then we recruit more troops. Be mindful of AI ambushes. Sieges are where you excel at with Kislev, so you would want to obviously not lose half your freaking army over there. So you would fight that manually, but because of Kislev's siege situation with ranged units, you can win sieges with minimal casualties, right? Like, maybe not Help Pit. Help Pit is a bit of an exception. You want to get Watchmen on your Atamans. Remember, by the way, that Atamans are part of a garrison, and garrisons for Kislev have that kind of greater range because of them. So now you can just, yeah, take an army over here and attack. Again, like, just very fucking easy, right? Well, some Kislev warriors as well. And, yeah, just... start getting more and more supporters. I'd focus a bit more on the Orthodoxy supporters to get some of those structures over there. And let's see if the ogres are willing to surrender. Maybe not, because the reason they wouldn't be willing to surrender is they don't have a settlement, but you can go after them if you want to. So yeah, I should have really declared war on Talabayam, I admit on that. That's my flaw of, you know, that's the one mistake I made. So what do we want to do here? Okay, so we're gonna get that, Patriarch. We're gonna get Katarin. So we get Katarin to a high enough level that she can unlock her special skill line. It isn't really the best skill line, but it will get the job done. Okay. What else is there really to consider over here? And once you reach this stage, right? Once you reach this stage, you go to war with Azazel. You put the pressure on Azazel. You deal with, like, what I would do here is, like, I would just recruit a bunch of units with this army, and then go against, then turn Katarin around to deal with that. This army would go deal with maybe Festus, or form a flank against Festus, or go against Talabayim if they get ruined, all that kind of stuff. You know, just various options. Like, we could start taking Talabayim territory, maybe make an alliance with Draca. But that is your decision making, right? Like, you can take this territory and then make an alliance, then sell some of it to Malachi. One of your goals in the long term is actually getting to Boris Ursus to try and, well, rescue him, quote unquote, from Archeon. And so that means going to war with Arbold, going to war with that. So you could ignore Azazel and try and let Castalton deal with it. There's also some chances over here that Wulfric, if he's gotten this powerful, he might declare war on Azazel. Castalton is not a great lord in terms of holding the line, but as long as Erengrad stands, that's kind of all you care about. Like, you actually want Castalton to not be too strong. So you don't want to help him out too much. You help him out as needed, but you don't go out of your way to help him out, because the weaker he is, the easier he's going to be to confederate. So just various aspects I want to mention. But yeah, supporter-wise, various things I would recommend you get. I would strongly recommend you get tenets, so Ice Court Academia for the Ice Court. Once you do unlock that, get Exalted March, get Duty's Reward, Dominion, Spirit of Community. These are the 4 that you want to focus for the Orthodoxy. For the Ice Court, it is with Ice Court Academia. And then beyond that, Treaty of War, that is a really good one. Security subsidies for extra hero capacity, those are the kind of priorities. Remember, you will only gain supporters with Orthodoxy provided you are at war with their enemy. So in this case, I actually got fortunate that the Norskins did declare war, and that they ended up in a war with Castalton. So just various aspects to consider. By the way, with the Ottomans, like, one of the reasons you don't want to build economic structures in Kislev is you kind of want to get your Ottomans to a high level as possible. So you want to pick up this building right here. It is a bit expensive, but money is not an issue, right? Like, money is not really going to be a damn problem. So you want to pick up this building in either Kislev or Prague, and you want to get that construction cost benefit. Also, crucially, you want to get that experience for Ottomans, because one of the things that two things actually that Ottomans can do. One, they can remove all climate penalties, and since Katarin's climate is not the best, or they can give you that 10 diplomatic relations with all factions. Bear in mind that you cannot reskill Ottomans, so keep that in mind. That is not something that is available to them. So keep that aspect in mind. Like, the choices you make with them are going to be permanent. You could also dismiss them, you know, if you have once you gain, like, the good traits. Like, you could have one that just gets Groundbreaker. He also gives you that construction time, so that's a major economic benefit. The 100% tradable resources is more of a long-term campaign benefit, but yeah, take the External Blast from the Norskins once, all of that. Now, there's not going to be a one-to-one situation. Like, I could have not been ambushed by Front, for instance. The Norskins might not have attacked. Wulfric may not have shown up. But this should give you a good way of getting started. What do you do army-wise after this? Like, yeah, Armor Cossars. And then eventually Akshinas, right? Akshinas, Hack Witches, like, you want to get Prague to tier 3, get rid of this building, and construct the Citadel, the square of the Citadel of Prague, because that's going to give you the global recruitment benefit, allow you to recruit Streltsy and Armor Cossars. Like, there's no reason to keep this building if you have in Prague. So you want to eventually get, like, the Silent Grove. It can be in a settlement like you know, Kislev or Prague, or you can build it in like the Southern Oblast or even the Eastern Oblast. Yeah. That's all. Costin signing out.